My name is Ava Miller. I'm 26 years old. And honestly, my life is nothing special. I live in a small, quiet city in America where every day feels the same as the one before. I wake up early every morning, get dressed, and go to work at a big supermarket. I'm a cashier. It's not a bad job, but it's exhausting. I stand there for hours, scanning groceries, smiling at people I don't know, saying the same things over and over again. Good morning. Did you find everything okay? Have a nice day. My feet ache. My back hurts. By the time my shift ends, I can barely keep my eyes open. I walk back to my tiny rented room, and when I step inside, there's nothing. Just silence. No one's waiting for me. No one asks how my day was. It's just me alone. I didn't always live like this. When I was younger, I had my parents. We didn't have much money, but we had each other. They were kind, honest people who taught me to work hard and treat others with respect. Our house was small, but it felt warm. I felt safe there. I felt loved. But then they died, and everything changed. Suddenly I was on my own. I had to figure out how to pay rent, buy food, keep the lights on. Some nights, I cried myself to sleep because I was so scared and lonely. But I didn't give up. I kept going. I stopped dreaming about finding love or having some perfect life. I just wanted to survive. That's all I wanted. Just to make it through each day. Then one cold, rainy morning, everything started to shift. I was standing at my checkout counter like always. The sky outside was dark and gray. Every time someone opened the door, freezing air rushed in. I was already tired, and the day had barely even started. That's when I noticed him. An older man walked in slowly, shaking the rain off his coat. He didn't hurry like everyone else. He didn't stare at his phone or ignore the world around him. He just looked around calmly, almost peacefully. Then he got in my line and waited. When it was his turn, he looked right at me. Not through me like most customers do. At me. And then he said something I'll never forget. "You look tired." I froze. No one had ever said that to me before. Not at work, not anywhere. I didn't know what to say, so I just told him the truth. "It's been a long day." He nodded, paid for his things, and left. But even after he was gone, I couldn't stop thinking about those words. Someone had actually seen me. The next day, near the end of my shift, I saw him again. He was standing by the exit, just watching. My heart started beating faster. Then he walked over to me, holding a paper cup. "This will warm you," he said softly, handing it to me. I took it, feeling the warmth spread through my cold hands. I was shocked. No stranger had ever done something like this for me. He smiled gently and said, "My name is Arthur Reed. Take care of yourself, Ava." Then he left. Wait, how did he know my name? I stood there staring at the cup in my hands, my mind racing. After that, Arthur started showing up all the time. Sometimes at the end of my shift. Sometimes right after I finished. He always brought something small. A coffee, a tea, a piece of bread wrapped in a napkin. He never asked too many questions. He never made me uncomfortable. He was just kind. And slowly, without even realizing it, I started looking forward to seeing him. I started watching for him. My heart would lift a little when I saw him walk through those doors. Then one afternoon, his whole mood changed. His voice was different, serious. "You live alone," he said. It wasn't a question. My chest tightened. I looked down at my hands, gripping the counter. "Your life is very hard." he continued, staring straight into my eyes. "I want to help you." My voice came out as barely a whisper. "Why?" He leaned in closer. "Because I care, and because I see you." That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in my dark room staring at the ceiling, replaying his words over and over in my head. "I see you." For the first time in so long, someone had noticed me, really noticed me, and it felt warm. But somewhere deep inside, a tiny voice whispered a question I didn't want to hear. What does he really want? I tried to ignore it. Arthur was kind. Arthur was safe. But that voice? It wouldn't go away, and neither would Arthur. A few days after Arthur told me he wanted to help me, I started noticing things. Small things at first. He looked weaker. His steps were slower, heavier. Sometimes he had to sit down and rest, like his body was running out of energy. His smile was still there, but it was quieter now, gentler, like he was saving his strength for something important. One evening, he asked me to sit with him. I sat down and my heart started beating faster. I could tell something was coming. His voice was calm, but underneath it I heard something heavy, something that scared me. Then he told me. Before we got married, the doctors had already talked to him. He didn't have much time left. Those words came out slowly, softly, like rain falling on a window. But inside my chest, they hit me like a hammer. I couldn't breathe. I just sat there, frozen, trying to understand what he was saying. He was quiet for a moment, staring at his hands. Then he kept talking. He told me his first wife didn't leave him. She got very sick, and she didn't survive. After she died, everything changed for him. Time didn't feel endless anymore. Every day mattered. Every moment counted. When he met me at that supermarket, standing there tired and alone, he knew he couldn't wait anymore. He said he wanted to make sure I was safe, protected from the hardest parts of life. He looked at me with those honest eyes and said he also wanted to leave something alive behind, something that would keep growing even after he was gone. His words sat heavy in my chest, warm and aching at the same time. Then he said something that broke me completely. "I didn't marry you to be saved, Ava," he said quietly. "I married you so you would be safe when I'm gone." In that moment, everything made sense. I finally understood. His kindness, his patience, his silence, all of it. The fear I'd been carrying inside started to melt away, replaced by something deeper, something real. I wasn't staying because I needed him anymore. I was staying because I chose him. I reached out and held his hand tight. My voice shook when I spoke. "I'm not leaving," I whispered. "Not now, not ever." Arthur smiled. He looked so tired but also so peaceful. Like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. After that night, there were no more secrets between us. No more hidden questions. No more fear. We both knew the truth, and somehow that truth made everything easier. We knew our time was limited. We knew the clock was ticking, so we didn't waste a single moment. Arthur moved slower now, but he was always there. Always present. His touch was gentle but sure. I stopped thinking about his age. I stopped caring what people outside might say. What I felt was his care, his attention, his love. At night when he held me, I felt safe. Not because I needed someone to protect me, but because I was truly loved. He was older, yes, but he was still a man who wanted me, who reached for me with warmth and confidence. I was his wife, And I stayed with him because I wanted to. Our days were quiet and gentle. Our nights were close and full of comfort. My body felt relaxed. My heart felt calm. For the first time in my entire life, I felt truly happy. Marriage finally made sense to me. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't some exciting fairy tale. But it was real. It was honest. And it was enough. More than enough. Months passed quietly after that. Life moved slowly, but somehow it felt full. Really, truly full. Then one morning, everything changed again. I woke up and something felt wrong. Not bad wrong, just different. My body felt weak, like all my energy had drained away overnight. My heart felt strange, beating in a way I'd never felt before. I didn't understand what was happening. So I went to the doctor. I sat in that cold waiting room, nervous, scared, not knowing what to expect. And when the doctor finally told me the news, I felt my whole body freeze. My hands started shaking. I couldn't control them. I was pregnant. Me. Ava. The girl who thought she'd always be alone. I just sat there in complete shock, unable to believe what I was hearing. When I got home and told Arthur, he didn't say anything at first. He just looked at me. Then slowly, the most beautiful smile spread across his face. Soft, gentle, pure. His eyes filled with tears, but they were happy tears. Tears of quiet joy. "A child," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Our child." He reached out and held my hand so tight, like he was holding on to the most precious thing in the world. We sat like that for a long, long time. He didn't need to say anything else. Neither did I. In that moment, sitting there with him, everything in my life suddenly made sense. I once married him to survive. But now I was living, really living. This wasn't about money anymore. This wasn't about safety or fear or trying to make it through another day. This was love. This was family. This was the kind of deep, real happiness that people search their whole lives for and sometimes never find. Time moved gently after that. Every day I took care of Arthur. I read to him from his favorite books. I made him tea the way he liked it. I sat beside him and held his hand. Some days he felt strong. Some days he could barely get out of bed. But no matter what, I was there. I wasn't going anywhere. One quiet morning, the sun was just starting to come up. I woke up and reached over to touch him, the way I always did. But this time, he didn't move. He didn't respond. Arthur was gone. Just like that. The house became so still, so quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy. But you know what? It didn't feel empty. Even though he was gone, I could still feel him everywhere, in every room, in every corner, in every single memory we'd made together. Weeks later, I was cleaning out his study, trying to keep myself busy, trying not to fall apart. That's when I found it. A letter. My name was written on the front in his careful, shaky handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened it. I had to sit down. Inside, he wrote that his greatest wish, his only real wish, was that I would never be alone again. That's when everything finally clicked into place. That's when I understood the whole story. I married him to survive. He married me so I could live. Years passed after that. Slowly but surely, life kept moving forward. I learned how to draw. I'd never drawn anything before, but I needed to. I needed to remember. So I drew his hands, the strong, gentle hands that used to hold mine. I drew his chair, the one where he sat every evening watching the sunset. I drew the small garden we loved, where we used to sit together in comfortable silence. Through my drawings, I kept his memory alive, and you know what I realized? I wasn't alone. I was never alone. Love was still with me. It lived in my heart. It lived in our child. It lived in every single moment we'd shared. People still whispered outside. I could hear them sometimes when I walked past. "She married an old man for money," they said, shaking their heads. But I didn't lower my head anymore. I didn't hide. I didn't feel ashamed, because they didn't know. They didn't know our story. They didn't know what we had. I had known real fear. I had known crushing poverty, and I survived both of them. I had been given kindness when I needed it most, and I learned how to stay, how to love, how to be loved. Some love comes loudly, with dramatic gestures and big romantic moments. Ours grew quietly, slowly, through care and patience and trust. And that was enough. That was more than enough for one beautiful life. Thank you for listening to this story until the end. I really appreciate it. On this channel, I share simple English stories about real life and real feelings. These stories help you learn English and also touch your heart. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and please write your thoughts in the comments. Tell me how you felt. Your support helps this channel grow. A new story is coming very soon. It will be even more beautiful. See you in the next video. Take care.